Hi, this is Laura. That's Darcy.
Yeah, we record. Okay, yeah, so we're recording.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
what episode are we on?
So I can edit
week?
this. Well, I think it's a good question. But this one is, what is today? The 11th.
July 11th,
So today is July 11th.
20. I don't even know what year it is.
I know.
16 something, 17.
No, it's an insane year. We'll
It
call
is
it
an
the
insane
year
year.
of insanity. Remember how the UN used to have all those things? The year of the child, the year of the wife, the year of the family, the year of the dog, year of the, you know.
I wish we could go back to the year of the life, the dog, the family, whatever.
Something that made sense.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
we didn't.
upside down.
So we didn't do a show last week
No, because it was 4th of July.
because it's 4th of July and I was out of town and you
So
were
was
lost.
I.
Where'd you go now? Oh, yes.
Blowing Rock, North Carolina.
Glowing Rock?
Blowing.
Blowing Rock. North Carolina.
Blowing
Ah.
Yeah.
So now is that like a beach thing or is it?
Not at all. River.
Oh, a
Mountains, river. Beautiful.
Oh, sweet.
I'm considering retiring there.
Really?
If I can't make it out west.
No, absolutely.
I loved it. It was gorgeous.
So, just at some point you got to tell me about your little thing to Kathmandu.
Oh, not that.
Not now, but I mean just another.
Eventually.
No, I got to hear this because that's one of the few countries I haven't
Yeah,
been to.
it's-
I always wanted to.
It was. You know how that's where like the monks live and where
Oh,
they
yeah.
practice, Buddhism and
Yeah.
all the Zen and yoga.
Mhm.
And it's when I came back from there that I came from the dark side to the other side. It was
sweet.
a huge
So you were able to get in
no pun
touch
intended
with
experience.
your inner self and learn that socialism is nothing but sucking off other people.
Well, and not that I still want to help people,
No, absolutely, right?
but it's about people wanting to help themselves too.
Yeah.
And that's what I was disillusioned about, which I think a lot of young people are. And I wasn't young then, but
Yeah.
I didn't know. But anyhow,
I'm just not randomly licking my
so
fingers.
there's his.
I should have wrote something here. I was supposed to write something here.
Let me write on there, Lovettsville Style and Shape.
Okay, so
See, you have a sign behind. I need a sign
you do
behind
need a
us.
sign. You need a sign.
You see the fire hydrant.
What we could do is like just
Have the clippers.
from a subliminal messages. Just have it like it's sitting there.
So dumb.
Okay, so but within
no,
the last
wait, this
week,
is better.
a lot has happened. So a lot has happened in the last week. So let's go ahead and start out.
I don't know, because it's going to give me a nervous breakdown. I never thought I would have dreams in my whole life over what's happening in the world.
I know.
If my husband was a police officer,
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever.
I'd stop pulling
Function
people
while they're at
over.
work.
Well, one, I wouldn't be one in those areas personally. I mean, I think I would live in
How are
those
they
areas.
going to do it? They're not allowed to do anything anymore.
I know. And when they do try to, have some kind of, civility, they're just sort of gunned down. But let's talk about Hillary first.
Okay, we'll try
get
to
that
focus,
over
focus,
with.
focus, 'cause
Focus. There's 1,000 things. And we don't have a cheat sheet. We just have a mirror in front of us, so we can just look at ourselves. Not only on the monitor, but, in
We don't have a teleprompter.
in panorama view, right? Okay, so bottom line is Hillary gets up.
Hillary is.
So expand
I
on
can't
that
get
a
out of a parking ticket, but man. Okay, so
You're not
this is. Boy, that's the reason, man. I can make myself blonde. We are in a salon.
little. I'm blonde and I never get out of them. Go figure.
It's because you're beyond blonde. What was I going to say about that? Gosh, there's so much to say about that. I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is what I was going to say. So, this is what a gentleman told me in here, that he can completely understand how they came up with that, because she did not intend to harm the American people or intend to harm anyone.
Yeah. Which none of that matters. Right.
I mean, so do I mean to say that, okay, well, I didn't mean to go over the speed limit?
No, absolutely. That's now the universal defense for everything. Well, I didn't intend to.
So then none of us have to get in trouble for anything.
No, absolutely. We're totally off smut-free. So here's the deal. I think I had like a grand total of maybe one security violation in my agency career. Right? Actually, I don't know if I had any when I was with the agency. It was when I left and I was a contractor. Right? And so I ended up on 6 months of quote-unquote probation. Wait, let me do the little air quotes. Probation. And had I gotten another one, I potentially could have lost my clearance. Right? Now, I didn't. Now, this is what's funny about it. I didn't intend to reveal classified. I didn't even know it was classified. And I'll give you. It was literally a number between 1 and 100. I had put that number between 1 and 100 in a document, And then I used a Spanish word for a number, and it just so happens that both of those numbers were somehow associated with this classified program. And so, when they wrote me up on it, I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What program? I don't know anything about it. I wouldn't read into it. Well, you used two classified terms. So a Spanish language, word for a number, and just a number together constituted a security violation. And I got written up, and I got 6 months probation. I could have literally lost my little job.
Oh my God.
Now here's the funny thing about Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is what's called the original classifier, right? In other words, everything that the State Department classified when she was on watch, she was actually the one who authorized the classification. Now the reality is, she had, her minions do that, right?
Right.
But the reality was, she was solely responsible for ultimately responsible for the classification of, functionally every document, setting classification guidelines, all this other stuff, right?
Right.
And so for her to say anything other than, yes, I'm a crook, and do the little peace things and shake the little jowls like Nixon, is just a flat out lie, right?
Well,
that's what kills me.
But in the beginning, it is exactly what she said.
No, absolutely.
That I sent no classified
No,
information.
absolutely. It was just constant stream.
But what somebody said, and the bottom line is, it's our safety. Would you put your kids at risk? I keep going back to your own family. Well, here you are, Secretary of State, and you don't realize, or what was it she said? Yeah, that it was a bad move, and I wouldn't do it again today.
Yeah.
But you didn't think about that then?
Yeah, so so we could say that. So the Dallas shooter, not to jump ahead,
Okay.
but he could say that as well. I didn't intend to kill anybody. I just intended to shoot people.
Right. I didn't want anybody to get hurt.
Right. I just
So
wanted
let
to
me
shoot.
off.
Yeah, I didn't know any better. Right. That's just insane. Well, here's the thing is, and trust me, everybody goes through it, even the Secretary of State. Classification training, when you come in, every document's marked, you know what's classified, and in general, you know what's classified.
Yeah.
So, I dealt with classified, information, all my career, and what really makes things classified, especially at the top secret level, is, specificity. So when you talk about people, places, and objectives in any given scenario, that tends to be top secret, at least in the intelligence community. And it's true in the State Department as well, because I did a bunch of State Department work as well. But, so she knew, right, very clearly that, some of those documents, many thousands of those, whatever, was in fact classified.
But the bottom line is that basically there's definitely, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's a two class system.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we have now.
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
have the Democratic class, the Democrat class,
Right.
and then we have the rest of the plebeians.
Right. What do you think we belong in that?
Yeah. So what we're doing this, right? So
What do you think we are?
And we're taxpayers.
And you know what? One of these days they're going to haul you and I off together for just even talking about it.
No, absolutely. And here's the thing, if you go back to the Magna Carta. So, what was really the whole point of the Magna Carta? Now, the Magna Carta, we
Teach us here. I always love this part.
No, absolutely. If there's a history major out there, I'm sure I'm getting some of this wrong. But, the Magna Carta was, a bunch of dukes, earls, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
They got together because the king thought he was above the law.
Right.
And so, they basically, signed a little document. They took him, they sort of had him out. They were going to kill him or something. Right. But he agreed to sign the document and all that other stuff. And so, with that, we say, that was the first really written instantiation of nobody being above the law. Now, unfortunately for every knight that was there, the king subsequently had them all killed, right? So it was unsuccessful as far as short-term gains, but the long-term memory of that, lives on to today. It was like 1250 or something.
Until what, last Friday?
Until last Friday, yeah. And here's the thing about it is if you remember, we impeached Bill Clinton. Now, we didn't remove him from office, but we impeached him, right? And the number one charge that we impeached him on was lying to the American public. Right? I never had sex with that woman.
That's what you mean you're good. That's scary. But seriously, look at the difference today.
Yeah. And here's the amazing thing about it is, let's pretend like Hillary wins, right?
Okay.
The House could so impeach her. right? Because that's basically what happened with Spiro Agnew, who was Richard Nixon's vice president.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically, tried for crimes that he had committed while he was governor of Maryland. Now, Agnew, Vice President Agnew,
is there no
resigned.
statute of limitations on any of that?
No.
Hey,
But the point being is they didn't go to a criminal court. It was done, I think anyway, if I remember right. Again, a historian, correct me on this. But that was done when he was vice president, right? And that's how Gerald Ford got to be president, right? So Spiro Agnew resigned because he was, he was just guilty, right?
Yeah.
And Gerald Ford came in, and then Nixon resigned, and then Gerald Ford got in there, right?
Exactly.
The only president that was never elected by anybody, right? Which is
Yeah, how does that happen? There was no electoral votes, nothing.
Hillary may get in by election of nobody that's an American citizen. Voter fraud, all those dead people. She'll be the president of dead people and illegal aliens.
People and illegal aliens.
How'd you like to be that, right? So anyway, with that said, it's unfortunate and it's criminal, but we at
the
least now
scary thing
know.
is that what's the rule of law now? Because James Comey is completely changed who is eligible for punishment and who isn't.
And what kills me is he even said, this is the insane part, he said, this doesn't mean that somebody in the exact same situation won't get prosecuted.
Well, look at Petraeus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
See, if I was him, I'd be like, hey, can I get off now?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It to me is just, I don't know. I can't even, again, I can barely comment on things because I can't wrap my brain around the fact that somebody can get away with murder almost.
Yeah. Well, if you think, bottom line is, if you think Obama's bad, Hillary's even worse, right? And these are the things to come, right? She'll have Loretta Lynch's, Department of Justice Attorney General, and she'll go after anybody and everybody that's, in opposition to
what
Her Highness.
Yeah.
I'm going to call her Her Highness.
Her Highness. Don't go there.
Okay, so let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla, which is just the daily executions of the men in blue. And somehow we just haven't rounded up people, right? BLM people, right? Because they are instigators of it, right?
Right.
And because here's the deal. I mean, it's actually against the law to incite violence against others. Right, so if I stood out here, on the town square here in Lovettsville, and if I could incite enough people to burn down town hall, even though I didn't participate in it, didn't have a match, didn't have gas, didn't have anything, but I incited a bunch of people. That's actually against the law. It's inciting violence and rioting and all this other stuff, right?
Well, then how are all these protests allowed? Because that's what's happening. And
it's funny you say that, because there were a couple of people prosecuted, or they were attempted to prosecute, right, in St. Louis. Right after the Trayvon Martin, whoever
right.
shot her. But I don't think anybody was actually ever prosecuted. I think once
they were arrested and let go.
Yeah, I think so. And what happened was, I think the Attorney General who was going to do it ended up in a ditch somewhere, with us.
I'm telling you, it is the Banana Republic.
No, absolutely right. Hey, that was in my little article this week, or last week. I talk about
the new Banana Republic.
Yeah, it's the insanity of.
So on the radio this morning, they were talking about the whole, Dallas thing, and how people think that these cops are racist. And so far, in every case, from Trayvon Martin to the Ferguson, Minneapolis, and that is still, all the facts aren't in yet, but so far, all of these, even the Baltimore one, that once the facts have come out, the cops were acting as cops are supposed to act. The car was stopped not based on the color of the person in the car. We want to make something that's not a racial thing into a racial thing.
Well, the left commonly advertises that they should let no, basically tragedy go unutilized. I can't remember exactly what the term is, but anytime there's something, they don't want to let that opportunity go to waste to push forward their agenda.
Their agenda,
right? Their
right. They use
their
all
socialist.
right.
Yeah, and so, and they obviously don't care. They have no concept, or they have a concept, but they just purposefully lie, right? So they don't care that, they twist the facts around and things like that, right?
Well, the previous mayor for New York City,
Giuliani. I love the guy, even though he's
Do you know that the murders of black on black went down from 2,000 to 500 when he was there?
Oh, yeah.
And New York claims that he is the biggest racist.
Yeah.
When basically the statistics are, why does nobody get upset when there's black on black crime?
Yeah. Well, 80% of all black murders are created by black people.
Right, but but all that's being talked about is the few statistics that are white on black or black on white.
Yeah.
And it's completely, it's again what the media is focusing on to basically skew what's actually happening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And Black Lives Matter shows up at every, white cop, black victim shooting.
Yeah.
But nobody shows up when 60 people in Chicago were killed over every weekend.
Oh, I know. Yeah, if Black Lives mattered,
why aren't you
to black people, they would stop the violence in the inner cities.
Yes, does it matter to you? And it does matter to us. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
And this lady called in and said, "Well, I think that white people are afraid because America is turning brown." Well, first of all, I've never heard that term, but I mean,
the brown.
Whoever's filling, is it Dan Bongino that's filling in for Chris this week?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I like that.
I love him, but anyway, he said
he
says that she thinks
he ran several times. Yeah, he's in Florida now.
Yeah.
He sought freedom, so he.
And she says, that when we say we want America back, that it's because we want white America back. It's like, no, he says we want lawfulness back.
Yeah, no.
We want our freedoms back.
Yeah.
It's not about a brown and white thing. It never has been for me. I just had a conversation with one of my clients, and she's so happy her girl's at a camp with all kinds of different kids, with all kinds of different talents and languages. And I said, everybody wants that. I really do believe everybody wants that.
I have a kid in China. And trust me, the kid looks like me, and I don't look Chinese, right?
We're not sure what you look like.
And I have another daughter. My son's in India, right? And that's the land of brown people. There's more brown people in India.
I got to tell you that this sounds really but the India Nepal thing, they're the most handsome, beautiful people outside of Spain. Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
What is that?
It's their skin, the color of their skin.
Yes.
And their hair is thick and luxurious.
Yeah.
And both the women and men are very, very handsome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And my daughter is actually in China. And,
so what's she doing there?
She's teaching English.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's, it's part of a missionary trip, but she's teaching English,
cool.
In my son in India, I think they're doing a building construction project. I think they're building.
What part of India is he in? Do you know?
I'm going to say it's it's near the ocean, near the Indian Ocean. It's probably about 50 miles outside of the ocean, but it's sort of in the southern half, not New Delhi. Delhi is just.
I've been there. I have to say, I was a bit traumatized.
Absolutely. Yeah. Was it during the summer? How was the smell?
Yes, it was.
How was the smells?
That's why everybody here should travel somewhere else.
Thank God for indoor plumbing, flushing toilets.
Sicker like projectile.
I'm with you, man.
But just like the treatment of animals and what was the movie that they made from the slums of India? Because that is exactly.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember. I didn't see
But that's not really why I didn't want to go back. It was just, it's everything. It is just, it's dirty, chaos. Talk about corruption. Well, you know what? If we don't stop what's going on here, it's exactly where we're going to end up. That's a banana republic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And the tragedy is, we have, so everybody has a hard job. Everybody works during the day, stuff like this, right? But the reality is, few people encounter the risk associated with police officers every day. Even people in the military, even in war zones. Obviously, dangerous places. But those typically are for short periods of time.
But think about the difference, though. You're expecting someone to shoot
absolutely,
at you in a war
And you
zone.
got armor.
You're not
you got-
expecting a sniper in freaking downtown Dallas to come after you.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, if my husband was a cop, I'd be like, you know what? It's time to retire.
yeah.
But back on that, like he was saying this morning you do what they say. If you have an issue with them, have an issue afterward and report it like I did.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
The race day, did I tell you about that? But no, seriously, do what they say, because when you don't, you are just inciting trouble. Like you
absolutely.
said, now you are asking trouble because they don't know how crazy or not crazy you are.
Yeah.
But just do what they say. In the meantime, if you got a problem with it, complain about it at a later point in time.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just a lack of respect for the law.
There's time to make those last stand efforts, and there's time to just take the ticket and move on with life.
Exactly. But you know what it is? People's egos.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
especially like, I hate to like go back to emails, but it's like,
it's
you're not telling me what to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on now.
No, absolutely. Hey, my little
It'll get
one
you in
back
trouble.
talking experience was 25 years ago. I had driven, across the Virginia border into whatever. Was it North Carolina? And,
Which way were you going?
Yeah, south. And as soon as I got across, I wasn't 5 feet on the other side, and I was speeding. I was guilty.
But did you mean to?
No, I actually meant to, so it was even worse. But a cop pulled me over, right? And but I wasn't going the fast. I had people passing me, right? And so I remember, again, I was much younger, right? And so I looked straight at him. I said, I know what kind of scam this is. I said, you look for a Virginia license plate, come across the border, and you write him a ticket. It's easy money for you. I said, I'm not driving back down here to contest it in court, and you know it, and everybody else knows it. I said, this is just a money-making scam for you. And I'll never forget it.
I cannot believe you.
The cop looked at me and said, hey, you know something? If you say one more word, I'm going to arrest you. And so while he had no legal right to arrest me.
I was going to say, what would have been, yeah.
No, but he had the power. Right?
Right.
And so, in my little, I was probably 25, 27, in my little mind, I'm thinking like, do I want to take the chance? Right. And do I do what I did when I was 18? Right? Have I grown up any? Right? And so I swallowed my pride, shut up.
See, that's what it is. Swallow your, yeah.
Got the ticket, got in the car, drove off.
See, you remember it, don't you?
Oh, I remember it well. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and the sad part about it is, so when the news broke, I didn't even know about it until really sort of late in the morning of the following day.
I didn't either. Yeah, because you can almost wake up every day, and if you hit your email account, some bad news pops up. I almost don't even want to look anymore.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah, and I never know what shooting they're reporting on.
I know,
right? Because it's like a rolling shooting. It's like, what city is it now?
This could happen here.
Yeah, no, it is clearly sick. But here's what I noticed.
I'm
right
looking at you for an answer. Save us, Warren.
Hey, that's why I sell guns. But for the life of me, I could not figure out, and I knew the answer, right? But I'm listening to all news reports, all this stuff, and there's several things that they fail to mention at any given time.
I can't wait to hear what you're going to say, because I haven't thought about it.
The race, the religion,
oh yes,
right,
of the
and the
perpetrator,
motive or association of the person, right? Now, had it been a white guy with a Confederate flag, and holding a Bible, right? He would have been crucified.
It would have been all over the map.
Oh, absolutely. He would have been, all over everywhere. But it took me forever to find out, one, he was black, right?
Because I haven't heard yet. And how many days ago did this happen? I haven't heard yet. I have no idea. The only reason I know is because you just told me before you came in here.
And then come to find out, sure enough, he has Muslim ties. Right? And so he's somewhat associated, I don't know how closely, with BLM, but he's more closely related to, Muslims, right?
Wait, what's the BLM?
Oh, the Black Lives Matter movement.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so he had, See, when I hear BLM, I think of Bureau of Land Management.
That's what I was just thinking. I'm like, what are you talking about, Montana? See, that's what you should think of when you say BLM.
Good, positive things are so positive,
right, like we're saving the Mustangs or something.
No, absolutely. I had 3 parked in my driveway. Mustangs.
Not horses.
Not horses.
Not tied up.
But yeah, and so, clearly an effort on the press to downplay the race aspect or the religious aspect.
So it was never even, nobody's even talking about who or what he was.
Minimal.
So what was his motivation then?
He just hated cops. And he said it. You know, I hate white cops.
Is that what he said? See, I haven't heard any of this.
Yeah, he said, I hate white cops. And, you know, that's why he started killing them, right? And so the fact that there's not just widespread massive condemnation from every single person in America and on the planet
On that.
is insane, right?
It
and so
is
no
insane.
matter how much whatever the racial divide that we have in this nation now,
Right.
caused by POTUS, that should be universally condemned. Nobody can justify it, right? But you have people right and left going like, it's only beginning.
And discussing how he was taken out by the robot with a C4 bomb.
I know, like
You're
anybody
concerned
cares.
about him?
I know.
Because he sure wouldn't be concerned about you if he had an opportunity to blow your head off, Tapper, or whoever the reporter is. He was certainly, I mean,
Yeah,
What are
somehow
you
they're
thinking?
trying to make that an issue. I couldn't care less. I mean, they're actively shooting at the guy. So whether they get
so what
him
do you
with a
think his
bullet,
mentality is? And actually, to me, the blow up would probably be easier than a bullet.
yeah,
You wouldn't even know what hit you.
Yeah.
Half the time you're like knocked out before you ever even realize you're
Yeah.
blown off.
yeah. No,
But
absolutely.
honestly,
Insane.
should we be worried about him?
Yeah.
Because he's not worried about any of us. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, and and immediately they talk about gun control and stuff like this. And there was one guy going like, well, what made it even worse? So Texas just passed an open carry law, right? I think it went into effect at the beginning of this year, if
We're
I'm
all
right.
gonna have to move to Texas. You know,
Oh, I love Texas.
Yeah.
I lived down there for a while, 6 months. But anyway, then people were bitching about, wow, you couldn't tell the good guys from the bad guys, right? Because you had all these people that are open carrying. So I doubt if any cop saw anybody open carrying, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
And two, most likely the guy who was shooting people had his gun drawn.
Drawn. Right. Right.
I mean, I open carry all the time. I typically don't take it out of the holster. It's not like I'm walking the dog here or something.
Right, and you're gonna hold this in one hand
Yeah.
out with it. I do have a question though. This is probably really stupid, but I'm not a gun toting carrier. When you have it in your holster or wherever it is you guys keep it, is it loaded then?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now what I don't do is lock and load. So I never chamber around.
I don't know
Right.
what that means.
It's basically putting a bullet in the position where you just have to pull the trigger. So I always carry semi-automatic, and you have to pull back the rack, the slide, in order to load a bullet into the chamber.
So then I have another question. How do most accidental shootings in homes happen, like when kids get a hold of a gun or something?
Just sheer stupidity. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Right, so like in my house, you're supposed to be safe with firearms, right? So I have firearms locked in, little safes.
Right.
I have shotguns that are not loaded, things like that. But it's nearby, right?
So the not loaded, having safeties on, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's just prudent.
Yeah.
right?
See, I don't really know anything about it, so I don't know what people do. But when you hear about kids accidentally get a hold of them, I'm like, well, how did they manage to make it work?
No, absolutely, right? I mean, nobody's coming into my house like a kid or something and somehow finding the ammo, finding a shotgun, putting
it all
it
together
in,
and
racking it, sticking it
all
in
the
their
stars
face.
are lining-
Yeah, it's just like,
Well, that's good to know.
yeah, no, I mean, that's just common sense,
Okay.
security measures for, if you don't have kids in your house, it's a different story. But, we do. And
Well,
so
I have a dog.
you have your dog. Yeah, I don't think
He's pretty smart.
Without an opposing thumb, it's hard to rack a slide. Just saying,
I'm
right?
just saying. I'm not giving him a lot of credit. He's a breaking and entering expert, so he could probably do that too.
Yeah, but
Well-
but we're having cops, die right and left. And
I know
it's just,
it's tragic. It is just.
Yeah.
I feel so terrible for them.
Yeah, and the thing about it is we have an administration and we have a large segment of the population that wants to blame everybody but the instigators.
Yeah.
Right. So primarily the
See,
shooter.
I don't understand why that is. Why don't we want to blame who's actually doing this to us?
Yeah, I mean, if I beat somebody with a bat, people would look at me and go like, what kind of guy is that? Or if I stabbed him with a knife, or something like that. But on the left, if you shoot a guy, it's never about the assailant. It's always, we need to bang guns. So I'm a bad person if I beat him to death with a bat.
That's the short-sightedness of it all.
No, absolutely. Again, it's the illogic.
The illogic is that there is no logic anymore. No.
And I have quite a few conversations with liberal people because I always try to figure out how they
What's the
take
thought
the same
process?
set of data that I have and come to some, massive conclusion that's so wrong.
There's no intent. There was no intent to harm. That's one.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But you know, this is the thing, honestly, and I probably say this every week. A lot of my friends that are probably going to vote Democratic
Yeah.
is I don't think people realize that it's a changed party from JFK. I really
No,
don't think it's a different party. It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
Because when we have conversations, they're conversations. Everything we talk about,
Yeah.
we agree on.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, then don't go over there, because
Yeah.
that's not what they really believe.
Yeah, well, the one thing about JFK, so he was a womanizer and a philanderer, just like Bill Clinton. So he still has that in common with the Democratic Party.
Well,
right?
we didn't say the whole thing.
But yeah, no,
Wasn't he the Marilyn Monroe guy?
Oh, yeah.
The one that Marilyn Monroe sang "Happy Birthday, Mr.
Oh
President"?
yeah. So he had, but the thing is, he had a large tax cut in his administration, right? That's something the Democrats would never think of, right?
Right.
And he
wasn't he the quote of, think not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
No, absolutely right.
Because right now their mindset's just the opposite.
No, absolutely
but
right.
Depend on us.
And he inspired us to the moon. To get America to the moon before
Right.
the close of the century, and we did
Right.
it, a few months, before the end of 1969, right?
Yeah.
But also, he was a strong Second Amendment supporter.
Right.
He supported the
Yeah,
right of
that's
individuals to have firearms. And so trust me, today JFK and the Democratic Party would be
Rolling over in the grave.
would be run out of town on a rail. He
yeah.
wouldn't be allowed to
He'd be
speak
one of the
or
36.
yeah, no, absolutely. He'd be another Clinton casualty, right?
Right.
Fobb, friend of Bill, who ends up dead, right? Fobb, friend of Bill.
Well, you know what they were saying too is that basically everything that he did, what did he do? Welfare reform. He did a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
That now he's apologizing for.
I know, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, the welfare reform was Newt Gingrich, right? The balancing of the budget was Newt Gingrich as Speaker of the House, right? All those things came out of, Newt's leadership.
But he had negotiation in him. Bill, yeah.
Oh, man, he was
tricky with that.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. He looked like
know.
Gumby out there. He could bend it any way he wanted to, man. No, absolutely. And that's what makes them, the Clintons dangerous, is because you really don't know what they're going to do or support. At least with Obama,
but that's Trump too, though. He kind of he's voting Democrat one year and Republican the next.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I wrote an article this week on Trump.
What'd you write?
Well, just the bottom line is, I was a Ted Cruz man. Ted Cruz lost, and the option is Trump or Hillary.
Yeah.
Right, and so I think I find the concept of not voting repugnant, and so these people that are never Trumpers and all this other stuff,
right.
They're just ignorant and foolish and short-sighted.
Yeah.
And I actually talked about
it's like they want to stand for something. Well, that's not the way to stand right now, because you got to think about our future.
Yeah, and I make the case in there, that our next president is going to pick 3 to 4 Supreme Court justices. So we know who Hillary's going to pick. Bill, Obama,
So
Loretta
enjoy your
Lynch.
freedoms now, because they're going to be.
No, absolutely, right. And we know what kind of Department of Justice we're going to have. We know what Hillary Clinton is going to bring us. And I'm just in general, I always take what's behind the unknown door. Right, and so we know what we're going to get with Hillary,
what that's going to
right?
be. Yeah.
And to not make a selection is just, again,
What's the
I've been
libertarian selection?
He's an idiot.
He is.
We have a two-party system in America.
I know.
And I mentioned that as well. I said, you can pretend to have a third party, and people can dabble in the
It
third
happens
party.
every time, and it never.
Yeah, it's just never going to happen.
So who do you think that will favor this time if people vote?
Well, I heard that she was actually, or he, Johnson, whatever his name is, was actually taking more votes away from Hillary. Mm-hmm. Right, and so there's a few people that actually still call themselves Democrats, but they're holdovers from the 60s and 70s, right? And they could never just vote for a Republican. It's just not in their bloodstream.
Yeah.
And they would prefer not to vote for Hillary. And so I think they, apparently a lot of them are going to vote potentially, Libertarian.
I guess it could go either way. You don't want Trump, you don't want Hillary.
Yeah, so. But my thing, as I wrote in my article this week, is I've been to a lot of places and seen a lot of elections. you know. And I've seen, you know, people come out in various political environments to come out and vote, you know. And, you know, for us to not vote, you know, because my guy didn't get in, or because Trump was rude and he said bad things about my candidate. You know, that's just, you know.
Well, now Sanders and Hillary, after beating each other up through all of the, you know, primaries and debates, are going to be all Budnicky after tomorrow when he endorses her.
Right?
That, you know, that happens every time. It's so stupid.
Yeah. Now, I will say late breaking news for today was that apparently Virginia court ruled that state law cannot bind delegates at the convention. And so there actually may be, you know, a big fight at the Republican convention. My biggest issue, and again, I write about this. How do you know what I wrote about? It hasn't been published yet. You bring this stuff up.
Oh, yeah, see?
So, but anyway, but apparently, so in my article, I wrote, Trump won, Ted Cruz lost. It's that simple, right? And so to somehow try to change the rules, you know, post selection,
right?
You know, to you know, change the outcome and stuff like that. That does nothing for rule of law or fair play.
Or
right?
Why did we even go out in the primaries? And
no, absolutely,
then?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
what we did means nothing.
No, absolutely. I mean, the Democrats.
We're supposed to be the boss, but we're no longer the boss anymore.
Yeah, the Democrats openly recognize and admit that they have a system that's designed for the party elite to make the selection. Right? They have 500 plus delegates, you know, that are all tied in, and they're ultimately always the end decision maker. Right, and so it's the party elite, you know, but the Republican system is not, very specifically, not done that way.
Right.
And so, but now they're trying to change the rules, you know, midstream.
To get who they want in there. They're going to pick them rather than have them
That's just
elected.
more, you know, more Republican establishment, you know.
Right.
I mean, that's the party of, you know, Jib, you know.
Jib.
I could not despise somebody more than Jib.
And that name, I mean, that just really, it gives us, you know.
Yeah. Is it Jebediah? Is that his real name?
I don't even know.
I always call him
I don't really want to know.
They call him a Jebutante. You know, he came walking in like somehow, you know, he was going to be the E pluribus unum, you know, nominee.
I know, right?
Just the arrogance and all that other stuff.
Like I'm a shoo, and my whole family's been presidents.
Yeah,
right?
I think he got like 4 votes total. I don't even know if his dad voted.
I don't even know if he made it past the first debate. He like to think he did. But,
oh yeah, it was terrible.
So who do you think he's going to pick?
I am really
this morning. But there's no way.
Oh, God, I hope not.
I know, but the only thing is, if he did, he'd get Ohio.
Yeah, well...
Wouldn't he?
Well, Ted Cruz won Ohio. Kasic's an idiot.
But Ohio
but Ted Cruz...
Kasich.
Yeah, Ted Cruz, I think... well, maybe... Yeah, no, wait, did Ted Cruz?
Ted Cruz did not win Ohio. Kasich won Ohio. Yeah.
Thinking of Ohio. I like Newt Gingrich. I've always liked the guy.
I knew you because he's kind of like Rush, and you are all like
absolutely,
like the Trinity, the Holy Trinity.
No,
the conservative Holy Trinity: Warner Workman, Rush Limbaugh, and Newt Gingrich. That's a scary thought.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've always liked Newt Gingrich. I just think he's just brilliant politically, right, and brilliant, you know, philosophically as well, as far as, you know, the proper role of government and stuff like that. He did such an outstanding job.
At least he would bring lawfulness back to our society and not have it be a two-class system.
Yeah, and I think he's a good counterweight to Donald Trump. You know, I think Donald Trump's going to set high-level policy.
Right.
And, you know, Gingrich will keep him within the constitutional bounds.
Right, kind of keep him in line.
Yeah,
and rather than bouncing all over the map.
No, absolutely, right? And there's nothing wrong with that.
And maybe help him with his verbiage a little bit.
Yeah. And what happens is, so you go back to, or I go back to, I like to quote or talk about Walt Disney. You know, the man, right? Mm-hmm. So he started several businesses before he started, you know, Walt Disney Enterprise or whatever it's currently called, and they all failed because he sucked as a businessman, right? But he was a brilliant creator and innovator,
right?
And so when he finally realized that, he hired his brother, who was actually a brilliant businessman.
To do that.
Yeah, and then once that happened, the rest is history.
Well,
right?
see, that's what I need, a brilliant business person.
No, absolutely. I just need somebody to help me run my store. I'm like flabbergasted over it. I'm dying over there, right? There's so
It's
much.
so amazing. I mean, I say that because all you hear about on TV and the radio is gun control, and you're selling guns like it's cotton candy at the fair.
I know it is. I mean, I sold, probably over the weekend. Oh, I won't even go into it. But I sold a lot of guns just over the weekend.
So you're thinking of hiring your daughter to be in there?
Yeah, definitely. When she comes back, she's moving back in August,
From China?
and she's gonna she's the one living in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So that's the older daughter. She's moving back. She's actually doing an internship at Disney World, which is one of the reasons.
Oh, that's right. You said we talked about that. Yeah.
But she's gonna come back. She's gonna help me. But I am so overwhelmed, with business and just all that stuff. That I feel bad because one of the things I wanted to do from a business delivery model was provide the most excellent customer service, and I think in reality I've sort of faltered some because I haven't been able to focus on what I like to do, which is sell guns. Right, I've had to focus a lot of my energies on the business side. Now I actually do both well, but it's a matter of time.
But you're only one person.
No,
so it's the same here. It's one thing to be behind the chair. It's another thing to be doing everything that you have to do just to keep it going.
Yeah.
So.
And it's amazing. I mean, as I've branched out, I've actually gotten some gun sales off this video, which I think is just funnier. Oh, I saw your video. You talked about guns. I came over here. Totally honest. And then, but that article I wrote for Purcellville Gazette as well. Now, I don't mention my store name at all. In my little picture, I have a little comment that says, I run a second-hand store.
Right.
That's all I say. Because I don't want the newspaper to think that I'm doing it.
No, you're writing to make to
political
put forth.
point.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
But I have so many people that come into my stores. I read your article. I didn't know what gun store it was. I didn't know there was a gun store in Lovettsville. And they look it up, Google it, and it pops up.
Yeah.
And I get so many sales from that. It's just sort of an amazing thing.
It is an amazing thing.
Yeah. But so what do you think the week ahead's going to do?
Love and peace, people. Okay, love and peace.
Yeah.
I don't even want to wake up in the morning because you're going to hear about something else.
Oh, I know. And again,
it's like every day. Who's going to die?
Yeah. Again, we mentioned this, but when I'm watching the news, I don't know what cop killing they're talking about.
I know.
Because there's just been so many. And you got this guy and this guy.
But what does that say about our world when you can't even distinguish one story from the next? And it's
Well, and it's what's happened with violence in inner cities such as Chicago, Baltimore, Washington D.C., New York City, all this other stuff, right? It happens so often. People
you become desensitized to it, which is a scary thing. That's just what I said to one of my clients the other day. I don't want to become desensitized to us shooting each other.
No, absolutely. I mean, if somebody got shot out here on the little green here in Lovettsville, they'd be talking about that for the next 5 years.
I'd probably be in therapy.
No, absolutely. But 60 people get shot over a weekend in Chicago. They go, is that all? Just 60?
Exactly.
Oh, gee, we had a great weekend.
It was a good weekend. It's just awful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's the sad part about it is, for whatever reason, people who live in the inner city somehow feel trapped.
Yeah.
Right? The bottom line is get in your car, drive out.
Right.
It's not like there's a wall there. It's not like the East Berlin.
I hate to go back to Ben Carson, but Ben Carson's life couldn't have been.
I know.
If you ever read his book, if you don't know anything about him,
Yeah, his mom
had
was a single
nothing,
parent.
came from nothing, was a single parent,
Yeah.
was a little crazy. She would dump them off, and I think it was somewhere in Boston, in the inner city Boston, when they left Detroit. They went back. They did not have a good life. He experienced prejudice. He experienced poor, having nothing, coming from nothing. But you know what? He had people throughout his life to help him believe in himself.
Yeah.
But sometimes, even if you don't have that,
Yeah.
sometimes it's, I know it's
absolutely.
hard, but it's got to come from you.
No,
it ain't easy.
Yeah.
But are you going to choose a good life or a bad life? And sometimes it's only you. Go find a mentor, because there's someone out there that will care about you.
Yeah.
know?
Even if you find them in, whether it's on, in books of real people, not made up people,
yeah.
right? But, people of the past who inspire you to do, great and mighty things as well, right?
But I have no doubt that, just like there's good nurses, bad nurses, good doctors, bad teachers, blah, blah, blah. There's got to be at least one person in every school, no matter how bad that school is, that a kid could turn to for help. And everybody would say, well, they have no opportunities, that like they can't go to college. Well, there's way more opportunities for a minority to go to college than me or you.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what the point the lady was trying to make today, but they're stuck there. They don't have an out. Well, yeah, they do, because when I was in nursing school, I had to pay for my school out of pocket, but the girl next to me, because she had a child as a teenager and didn't make such a good choice, and I'm not saying going and having an abortion, I'm just saying she had a kid at a young age, so she got the help, but I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, it's the same
don't
here.
tell me that you don't have an opportunity. There's an opportunity if you want to find it. Go read Ben Carson.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, the same here. I come from a small town right outside Oklahoma City called Midway City. And, I ended up, I was telling people I'm poor white trash.
Right.
We just didn't have people around
You
us
worked
telling
at
us.
the 7-Eleven.
I worked at a 7-Eleven. But, we didn't have people telling us that, right? And so,
Exactly.
and my dad was very encouraging. And, I went to college and moved out of town because I got a better
Did
job.
what you had to do. And I'm not saying that the road's going to be easy, just go do it. It's probably going to be very difficult and not, but you know what? You can do it.
Yeah.
And you'll feel better about it. And then you'll have a family and you can drive a SUV and have a dog and it'll be worth the struggle. I sound really stupid and rhetorical.
No,
but
it's just
true, isn't it?
Yeah, the reality is that's proven to
it
be
can
the
be
most
done.
successful
Society.
national model for society.
Right.
Yeah, is intact families.
And just, learning resiliency and independence and, find somebody to help you make it happen
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
rather than shooting each other. Just saying.
Yeah.
And on that lively note.
Absolutely. And with that said, so we're at the 45-minute mark, even though we wasted a few. So we're probably at a little over 40.
He's going to have to edit.
So we ran long.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Okay, so with that said, so again, today's July 11th.
July 11th, episode number 8 or something.
Another video in the can.
Of of Lovettsville 20180.
You have the Liberty Radio Hour.
It's not always fully
With
an hour.
Darcy Shika.
Right there. And Warner.
Okay, with that said, we're off, right?
Until next time.
Okay, God bless. Talk to you later.